Dubai Rebuild the Ruins is a worker rotation and tile placement game for 2 to 4 players. Games last 60 to 90 minutes and are rated for people aged 13 and up. At the beginning of the game, the map and worker tracks are put in the middle of the play area. Resources including tech, cement, steel, glass, and brick are set out within reach of all players. Each player chooses a faction: the Hazamin, the Barian, the Nubadu, Tayarin, or the Maksur, and gathers their associated player maps, workers, bidding tokens, and structure tokens. Then, players place their score token at the start of the scoring track. Player mats are double-sided with a standard side and an advanced side. Make sure all players use the same difficulty level. Each player starts out with 15 dirham, which they place behind their screen. Remaining dirham are set out to form the bank. Shuffle the structure tiles and place them face down on the spot indicated on the board. Draw 6 structure tiles and place them face up on the board by the spots marked 5 through 10. Shuffle the goal cards and place them face down on the spot indicated on the board. Each player draws 1 card. You may look at your goal cards anytime you wish. 4 structures are then dealt to each player from the deck. The top resource on each of these structures becomes the player's starting resources and, once collected, are placed behind the player's screen. Each player chooses 1 structure as their starting structure, and the rest are discarded to the bottom of the deck. Starting structures are placed in the indicated HQ locations on the map. To do so, randomly determine a start player. Starting with that player and moving clockwise, each player chooses a headquarters and places a structure token there. If the Hazamin faction are in the game, they automatically start on the headquarters labeled H. It is important to note that in a 2-player game, players will ignore both the shaded row and the shaded column of the map. In a 3-player game, players will ignore the shaded row. In a 4-player game, the entire map is used. Workers are placed at the port, the Engineers Guild, and at the ruins. Play begins, and the first player places a worker into the first open space, clockwise, on any one of the 3 tracks. The turn is then executed in counterclockwise order along the track. At the port, all players interact simultaneously, bidding on a resource determined by the initiating player. Players may only use a number of bidding tokens equal to or fewer than the number of workers that player has at the port. The collective bid of all players sets the price of that resource for that round. Players must purchase the amount of resources equal to the number of bid tokens they used. If a player cannot afford to do so, their tokens are removed and the total cost is recalculated for remaining players. Alternatively, players may choose not to engage in bidding at the port and may instead acquire 2 dirham per worker on this track. At the Engineers Guild, actions occur player by player to either acquire structure tiles or receive project financing. There are 5 structure types in Dubai: businesses, bazaars, factories, residences, and entertainment. Each structure has a purchase cost in dirham based on its row position on the structure board, and a rebuild cost in resources, determined by the resource icons on the card. As an alternative, players at the Engineers Guild may instead elect to receive project financing and gain 7 dirham from the bank. At the ruins, each player acts worker by worker. Per worker, a player will either rebuild a structure, draw or discard a goal, or trade resources 2 for 1. To rebuild a structure, players play the associated resource cost on the tile and place it on the board. Rebuilding a structure must occur orthogonally adjacent to a previously placed structure. Whenever a structure is rebuilt, players remove a structure token from the corresponding structure type section on their map and place it on the structure tile, thus claiming it. Removing tokens in this way reveals additional abilities for the player. Players then score a number of points equal to the number of resources on the structure, and can also earn bonus points for rebuilding near other structures that they control of the same or neighboring type. To draw or discard a goal card, players may choose to take a new goal card from the goal deck, or simply discard one of their goal cards to the bottom of the deck. Remember that while goals add bonuses to your score, they can also count against you if incomplete at the end of the game. Trading resources normally occurs as a ratio of 2 to 1. Building bazaars helps improve this trade action by allowing for more exchanges at a 1 to 1 ratio. Once a round is complete at a location, the player whose worker is situated at the end of the line takes that worker and places it at the first open space, clockwise, on one of the 3 tracks, initiating a new round at that location. This means that turn order is highly variable and extremely dynamic throughout the game. This process continues until a player reaches the endpoint marked along the ruins track, or a worker is placed at the ruins when there are fewer structure tiles available for purchase than the number of players. At this point, the game ends. Players receive bonuses for milestones regarding completed structures on the board, are awarded or lose points for their goal cards, and gain points for remaining dirham. The player with the most points in the end wins the game and will become the leader of New Dubai. We hope you enjoyed this overview. May you set firm foundations as you rebuild the ruins of Dubai.